Okay guys, today's video is going to be about Indonesian prefixes and suffixes. And we're going to focus mainly on ber, mer, per, and an. So we're going to explain what these are and give you some examples how you can use them. Okay, so firstly, before we get into it, I need to explain to you what prefixes and suffixes are. And these are grammar features that we add to base words which change their meaning. So prefixes go on the front of a base word and suffixes go at the back of a base word. Now, all languages have prefixes and suffixes. In English, we've got many examples where we use these things to change the meanings of base words. And we've got some examples there. We've got ed, we've got dis, we've got un, we've got est, in, ing. Okay, examples of how in English we use prefixes and suffixes, we add them to a word and changes the meaning slightly. So in Bahasa Indonesia, they use prefixes and suffixes in much the same way as English does to change the meaning of base words. So we're going to first look at the prefix me and be. So as it says there, me and be when added to a base word make it a verb. That is, it's an action or a doing word. And we've got two examples here. So we've got sekolah by itself equals school, but when we add ber to the front of it, bersekolah, it means to go to school. So it makes it a verb. Okay, the next one, they've got the base word there is tonton. We add the men prefix to the front, makes it menonton, turns into to watch. Okay, turn again, makes it a verb. But you just got to be careful there, the warning there, awas, that not all Indonesian verbs have a me and a be. Okay, most of them do, but as I said, there's always exceptions to rules in grammar. So there are some, for example, like makan or minum, that don't have a me or a be on the front of it, that make it a verb. So the differences between me and be, okay, it is important that you do know the differences, and so hopefully this will explain to you guys what they are. So firstly, me verbs are transitive, okay? This means that they must be followed by a noun in a sentence to make sense. So if we look at our example here, saya menonton televisi, I watch television. So the pronoun there in the sentence is I, the verb is to watch, and the noun there is television. So if you just said saya menonton, it wouldn't really make sense, I watch. It needs a noun after it for the sentence to make sense. Now if we look at be verbs are intransitive. Now this means that they don't need a noun to follow them in a sentence to make sense. So if we look at our example here, saya bersekolah, I go to school. So you can see there, the pronoun and the verb, it doesn't need a noun there for it to make sense. Now we're going to look at another prefix now, the p prefix. Now the p prefix, when added to a base word, makes it a noun. So the opposite. So not a verb this time, but a noun. Now, p nouns are pronouns in Indonesian. That is that they're usually used for people. Again, this is just a general rule. So you might have words in Indonesian with a p where they're not people, but for the most part, if you see a p on the front of a word, it's going to make it a person. Okay, so we look at our examples there. So mine, the base word, general meaning, it's got to do with playing games and stuff like that. So when we add p to the front of it, p, mine, makes it a player. Next one, masak, the base word, again, it's generally to do with cooking or food or cuisine. When we add p to the front of it, p, masak, it turns it into a cook, okay, a person. And again, the warning there, just a reminder there that, again, not all pronouns in Indonesian use the p prefix, okay, it's just a general rule to follow. Now, the suffix an, okay, so the an goes on the back of base words, and again, it makes things a noun in Indonesian, the an suffix, and it makes them objects this time. So per, our last one, made things a pronoun, but this time the an just turns things into an object. So again, using the same base words as example, so mine, when we put an on the back, mine an, makes it a game, an object, a thing. Next one, makan is to eat. When we add an to the end of that, makanan, it's the food, the thing. Okay, and again with the warning, Not all nouns in Indonesian use the un suffix, okay, against just a general rule, but if you see un on the back of an Indonesian base word, it's usually going to be an object, a noun. Now just to recap what we've explained in this video, so me, it's a prefix, it means it goes on the front. It makes things verbs, which are intransitive, and that means it requires a noun after it to make sense. Ber, it's a prefix, and it's a verb, but it's intransitive this time, which means it doesn't need a noun after it to make sense. P, again, a prefix goes in the front, and this one turns things into nouns, and it's usually for people, okay? So you see a per on the front, it's usually talking about a person, or a person, an actor doing something. And un, our last one that we've learned today, is a suffix, which means it goes on the end. It again turns things into nouns, but this time they're objects, okay? Things we can touch, things we can see. So again, looking at some more specific examples here in our review. So looking at one particular base word, so mine, as I said, it's got a general meaning to do with games or playing. So the base word itself doesn't hold any meaning, but when we add suffixes and prefixes, it does get one. So the first one, bermain, means to play. When we add the ber, makes it a verb. Permain, add the per prefix, makes it a noun, which is player. Then mine an, makes it again a noun but an object and a game. Okay, so that's where we're going to leave this video for today. I hope it's explained ber, per, an, and me, suffixes and prefixes. And I'll catch you on the next video.